Hello everyone. I am making the pattern for my teardrop camper, and it happens to be night. But for the pattern, I just took a 4x8 sheet and joined it to a 16-inch piece. So that this is about 5 feet plus a couple inches. Let me read what it is. Yep, 5 feet 4 inches. Again, this is probably not how I'm going to do the main project, but for the pattern it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be necessarily strong. The way I decided to make my teardrop shape, I put a nail here, about 10 inches back from the end. I put a nail at the very back, and I tied a string. And I pulled the tension on this string so that at 48 inches back, it would be perfectly lined up. Then I drew a circle to the point where I could, and I made sure it was tight here in the front. So I drew a couple of arcs. The original arc was 5 inches at 24 inches back, and I wanted it at 3 inches. So depending on the pressure, I have drawn the line, crossed out the ones I didn't want, until I came up with a curve that I like. Again, all of this will be smoothed and sanded down. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a jigsaw and I'm going to try to follow the line that I'd like as close as possible, and then I'll finish that off. Seems like my jigsaw broke. Luckily I've got a second one in the house. Well, this one too looks like it's about to break. It's the part that actually holds the blade in. But hopefully I can finish this job and not have to buy another jigsaw. Alright, got the general curve down. I'm going to have to work it a bit to smooth it out. Let's see here. I'd like to take off another 1/8 inch. Alright, well, I have finished cutting out the pattern last night. Cut out the bottom curve, the top curve. They are not exactly the same. I did not want them to be the same. I wanted the bottom to start 24 inches from the front. That's where it meets the frame. Then 24 inches further back, I wanted it to be 3 inches down, so that it would meet the very bottom of the frame. At the top, I wanted as much headroom as much as possible. So here's pretty much where the back wall is going to be. And so it's only 2 inches over about 8 inches, so it shouldn't be a problem. I've looked at some of the other other campers out there. Most of them have an interior height of 3 feet 8 or 9 inches. This one's going to be more than that. I originally planned to do the same, but then I thought, I'll just go for a taller one. Problem with taller is there's more frontal area, which means it's going to be slightly less aerodynamic. So where most people's trailers from the bottom of their trailer to the top is 4 feet, mine is 5 feet. And so what that means is I should have 4 feet 10 inches inside headroom. More than enough, probably too much, but again, if I wanted to build my first one fairly large, so it's 5 feet wide and it's about 4 feet 10 inches tall, and then of course the living compartment's going to be about 7 feet long. If you can see here in the back, this piece of wood is still only 8 feet long, and that is not quite long enough, since I already took 2 feet off of the 8 feet for in front of the frame. So I'm going to have to add 2 feet here, and I have a slight feeling that I'm actually going to be adding more to the back as well. I want to make this fairly aerodynamic. The longer it is, the more aerodynamic it's going to be. So there you have it. Now what I got to do is I got to sand these curves. The top one I did a little better with than the back one, and I need to make them as smooth as possible, since I'm going to be using this as a template to cut out with a router the other pieces. Well, I did not want to initially use a power sander because it's not very accurate, but I'm going to try it just in case. It doesn't have too high of a grit on it. I pretty much just ran out of sandpaper, can't find any. I'd like to use some 60 grit so that I don't take years to finish this off, but let me try to use this power sander and I'll see if it works. Alright, well I've finished sanding the bottom edge and making it smooth. For a template, you also have to realize these pieces that I'll be cutting out, even if they're just a very slightly bit off, there is a 1/4 inch piece of plywood that'll be going around them. So it's actually not going to show some of these really small places. It won't show at all. So you don't have to be too picky about it. Just make sure that the edge that you are going to be putting against the wood that your router pushes against, make sure that that edge is as smooth as possible. Alright, well I have finished sanding both of these curves to my liking, and now what I'm going to do is attach another piece to the back here. I'll keep it separate because it's starting to get a little difficult to move, and then I'm going to do the rear curves. But first, let's see what this looks like. I'll try to see if I can turn it right side up to show you guys. Alright, well here you have a picture of what it's going to look like. It definitely looks oversized, and that's because it is. For whatever reason, I decided to increase the ceiling to 5 feet. So it's a foot taller than most teardrops are going to be, and of course this is going to be on top of a trailer, which means it's going to be a bit higher as well. So for the moment, this is what it's going to look like, and right here will be the internal wall that your head would be against. There's going to be a door here and also on the other side. Also this part, front part, is a compartment so that you can store things. And as you can see, it's actually pretty large. At this point right here you could have 16 inches about, and this right here is 24 inches. So you're looking at a very sizable piece of real estate here that'll be going 5 feet through that way. So you can store all sorts of things like a generator, tents, and other things. I'm still not sure whether I like the fact that it's going to be taller than I wanted it to be, but I think I'm going to stick with this for now. So I'll get back to you guys in just a little bit after I've figured out what I'm going to do to the rear side. Well, while I'm sitting here at Starbucks, I have a question for you. Do you think a teardrop camper is still a teardrop camper if it's 12 inches taller than any other teardrops? I'd welcome your input. Please comment so that I know what to do. I'm kind of conflicted. I like the extra space, but everyone will be like, that's not a teardrop. So anyway, comment, help me out. Thanks.